Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode of B is for Build. We are here working on our crashed, salvaged 2023 BRZ project. We're trying to turn what was this totaled car that I got for $5,000 at auction into this. What I think is the world's coolest looking BRZ. So far, we've done some crash repair, road tripped it 1,200 miles down to San Diego, installed a Street Hunters wide body kit, road tripped it back here to Oregon, put like 10% more miles on this car just doing that. And then we worked on the very unique headlight situation and figure out a solution for how we can have a very unique set of headlights for this car. And in today's episode, we're gonna continue working on that, but we also have wheels and tires for this car that really fill out the whole picture. They really set it off, and I'm excited to show you guys these things. Let's get started. Where we have left off in the last episode, we had developed this plastic piece that comes through here, and the game plan was to create a fiberglass piece from this plastic piece. But at that point, we realized while building this that we're gonna get a much better copy of the headlight lens if we actually just fiberglass over the headlight lens and take that as the copy. So this plastic piece, not really necessarily needing to be used for anything covering the headlight, but we do want to integrate this piece in this shape into our headlight cover. We also have this piece right here that is a very valuable piece because it's a perfect match to our hood and it has all the bolt mounting points already done for us. So this is probably where we're going to start. Although if we keep this body line going down, it's not going to create a vent large enough for us. So we're going to have to mix this and this. But I think that that is the secondary thing. The firstendary thing that we need to do is work on getting this right, getting this correct. So what we're gonna have to do here is a little bit of bolting down, a little bit of measuring, and a little bit of fiberglassing. We're gonna go ahead and create some temporary brackets that are gonna come off the bumper here. That's the actual impact bar of the bumper, and come up to here, and that we can bolt this fiberglass into so we have a nice level surface across the bumper. And then that'll give us room to make way for fiberglassing in this connection to fill in this void right here. Kyle went ahead and fabbed up some brackets for us, so now the middle is being held up the way that we need it, and the right side of the centerpiece is being held down right where we need it. That gives us a perfectly straight and flat piece. So now we don't want this piece to move. We're gonna go ahead and come in from the bottom and be reinforcing this and some other things. So what our next step is gonna be to prep for fiberglass. To prep, we're gonna wanna sand everywhere that we wanna do fiberglass. It needs to be scored, scuffed up. So 60 grit sandpaper, sand all around, anywhere that you want that fiberglass to adhere to really well. The other really big thing is you want to protect your headlights. You do not want to get fiberglass resin on these. We're out of boxing tape. That's my favorite thing to use because fiberglass just resin will not stick to boxing tape. But just for a simple protection layer, we're going to use painter's tape. It'll probably work out just fine, and we're going to just be careful around the headlight. So for right now, we're going to be glassing in the long run this area right here. So just a nice layer of protection here. And after we've sanded, the other thing is we need to build some kind of something for the fiberglass to sit on so it doesn't sag and start to fall through this hole. And I think duct tape, some good quality duct tape is going to work to do this fine. So we're going to come in from the bottom here. We're going to duct tape from here to here on the inside. That's going to bridge this whole section. That way we can lay fiberglass over the top of it and it won't get a big sag in the middle. Okay, we've got the headlights protected. You can see the scuffing that I was talking about. So we've got about a 1-inch radius around here to work with. We're not really trying to get a lot of fiberglass on here. We really want to make that connection here. And then we're going to come in from the bottom eventually and fill in. So all this duct tape's got to come off of the fiberglass on the bottom. So it's time to go ahead and start fiberglassing. Oh, the other thing is we made this score mark right here. At some places a little more than a score mark, meaning I cut right through it. This needs to be reinforced too, so we'll be coming from the bottom and start laying fiberglass in on that. We have a bunch of scraps of our chop strand mat. All of our fiberglass products are brought to us by Fiberglass Coatings Incorporated. I want to give them a shout out. So we are using a polyester resin, that's right here. That's the activator, catalyzer, and chop strand mat. It is that simple. We will go ahead and template out the shape for each side. We'll go ahead and get the chop strand mat cut to match that template. We will do 2 to 3 layers of the chop strand mat on the top side. Eventually, like I said, we'll reinforce from the bottom, and then we'll probably try and do 2 layers around that edge right here. One big thing about fiberglass and about the winter and things that you always got to think about is your temperature. We've had the heater running all day long and we are only up to 55.5 degrees. That is on the extremely low side. I don't have the tech sheet right in front of me, but I wouldn't be surprised if this stuff is not meant to be used in that temperature. Looks like bumping up the, we're noobs at this, but it looks like if we bump up the catalyzer from 1% of catalyzer to 2%, at very least, it's going to catalyze a little faster. It definitely might help. But to make sure that we're up to temperature, I would say the minimum you want to work in 60 degrees. I might even put the tech sheet on the screen right here. 70 is like, you know you're always going to be fine at 70. You can spray paints, you can do fiberglass, you can work at 70. This is our secret to get to 70. This is a heat lamp that we will safely place away from the car as to not catch it on fire, and then leave it there facing that way, because I'm not confident that we can keep this shop at 70 degrees all night long. So we'll go ahead, template out our fiberglass, lay it up, get heat on it. Got the fiberglass laid up. We got the infrared heater running on this, on the whole front of the car. We've got the fiberglass laid up. We did 3 layers on this area right here, and then bridging that whole section, we did 2 layers underneath. And you can see it's pretty simple. We just laid it right over where that duct tape was. And then now we can, when we come back in, we can sand the high spots and we can body fill over that and start to smooth it out. Big thanks to Fiberglass Coatings Incorporated. I'll put a link in the description. If you guys need composite materials, make sure you go check out their website. They have a ton of great stuff on there, and they are a big help with all of the composite work we did. The wide body kit on that car, all that stuff's all made with their products. Really good stuff. Now it is time for us to hope that this thing doesn't catch fire overnight and let this dry up. We're back for the next day. Fiberglass is dried up and the shop did not burn down from the infrared heat lamp. Wonderful. We left the heater on, right? Yeah, 60 degrees is our cap. That's as hot as we can get it in here. So we're gonna have to keep working under the heat lamp today. Not a bad place to be. We're gonna keep working on the nose of the bumper and stuff, and then we're gonna jump into our new wheels. I cannot wait to show you guys these. They're really good. So in the last episode, we had our plastic piece. That was our scaffolding to build off of. We wanted to move more in the direction of molding the fiberglass directly off the headlight. So that's where we're gonna start working. I really like this piece right here because it has a bolt-on connection to the rest of the car. So we're gonna definitely start by using this piece. I need this to dive down a little bit tighter so we can start working right into the headlight right through here. So I'm gonna have to remove this on both sides of this piece. And then the other thing is that the overall angle needs to come up just a little bit so we have a matching gap for our headlight, which it's more than 2 fingers, it's a 3-finger gap if you go all the way from the bottom to the top. So that's what we want to end up with here to match, is a 3-finger gap. And the problem is if we remove this plastic piece and we were to keep this edge going down, we'd have like a tiny little gap right here. So Kyle and I are gonna work on cutting this out and then figuring out how we're gonna cut up this plastic to be able to use it probably underneath as a backer to this, or maybe partially on top to this. We're gonna have to figure out how to get it in here in such a way that it's strong, it holds the shape that we need, and then we can lay fiberglass over it and attach the fiberglass from this piece to the piece we're inventing, making up from scratch, that will eventually go over the headlight in this area here. Side quest just rolled in the shop. You guys remember my FJ Cruiser? Built this on the channel a long time ago. It has been running strong ever since. Chelsea's been borrowing it, and there is a small issue with the driver's side seatbelt. So the seatbelt is very, very unsafe. You can see it won't go back in, and although the winding mechanism, if you emergency stop it, it's still functioning. If it doesn't reel back in for you and you get in an accident, it's not going to be able to do anything to help protect you. So we're going to figure out what's caused this. I've actually never really had this happen on a vehicle. We're going to figure out what caused this and figure out the solution for it and then share it with you guys. in case you have the same problem at home so you can fix yours as well. Real dangerous, can't have that happening. Took the door apart, took the seatbelt out because it was acting weird, you know, like the problem. This is the seatbelt and the roller mechanism. Over on this side, you have the safety restraint system pyrotechnics that will stop it and actually reel it backwards in the event of an accident, hopefully. And over here is the part that's responsible for reeling it in and out and stopping with the inertia stop. And it's just being very weird. Sometimes it wants to reel it back in and sometimes it just totally doesn't. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pop the cap off of this and do a little bit of an inspection and see what we can find if there's something in there gunking it up. I took it too far apart. I took too many things off. It didn't need that much. I believe it just over this vehicle has about 200,000 miles. So over time, I think the kind of shaft, whatever you want to call it, that runs through here, just got a little bit of gunked up after too much use. WD-40 seemed to have lubricated it really well, and it's now like so much easier to spin in there. I think that would have solved the whole problem. I originally thought that maybe this spring was broken or the tab was broken off the spring, but I want to show you guys the inside of this before I try and assemble it all again. This is a spring. It winds up really, really, really tight. You can see how many coils there are. I'm a little scared to break this, but as you spin it, it winds up super tight and creates a lot of force, and that's what pulls your seatbelt back in. So that lives inside here. This thing lives inside there. Hopefully I can reassemble it all. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get it coiled up nice and tight with the seatbelt nice and tight, all the way reeled in, and then as we reel it out, we should have lots of force to pull it back in. And now that it's lubricated, maybe a little bit too much, it should actually reel. So that's what the inside of your reeling mechanism looks like in your seatbelt. These are like $300 to buy a new one, so you know, work carefully. Okay, we got the panel back on and we got it back in the car, and when we pull it out, it slowly goes back up, but it is working. I think the strategy here would be also, if we clean this a little bit better, I think we're gonna have better results there. I think the strategy would be take your panel off, lubricate that wheel. Do not jump into it like I did and break into it, because I think I lost a little bit of resistance on that clock spring, but it is gonna work now because it will, even if you maybe sometimes have to baby it, it will go back in all the way. And then when you're sitting and using the car, it's got the safety lock, which will save you. So quick little B is for build exploration there. Lubricate first is my advice. That took way too long out of our day, but it's really good to learn about those things, and I do like being able to kind of get back to our roots in more ways than just this, to show you guys some useful stuff if you're not, you know, hacking up your car to try and make it insane. I feel like our tech demo had some value there. And this is actually coming along great. I had a previous plastic piece that covered up the headlights and everything like that and trimmed it so we could slot it in underneath this, because that's kind of the direction that we're going. And look how good of a fit that we got. So this is a great scaffolding to be able to build fiberglass off of this and come forward. So I think we're gonna attach it with like some self-tappers or something in the area that we want, and then we're gonna build some spacers so we have that 3-finger gap that we want. I mean, basically how I've got it mocked up with one hand right now is pretty perfect to what we're trying to accomplish. Remember that this piece of fiberglass is the end result, right? So the peak has to end there. Then it comes out to here. So what we're going to be doing is putting fiberglass over this to bump into this, body filling this whole thing to make it smooth. And then once we have a nice fiberglass section here, we can come in underneath and reinforce the whole unit. It looks correct when I was up close, but once I get like back and standing on top of it, you can see we're actually off. That line needs to be closer to there, and that one's too far over there. So to do that, we just gotta pull the screws out, trim a little bit more off that side, and then we're gonna center this thing, recenter it again. We'll save the same screw holes, and then we'll just ram and jam the piece of plastic back up in there, and we should be in a good spot. Cool, we got that on there, right? So the next thing that we need to do is, you can see that we got this big hole right here. We need to make this transition. And I think that we can do something kind of cool here and use vinyl wrap to kind of show us a natural transition from the headlight lens onto this section. And it's also gonna give us a cool visual of what our cover is gonna look like. So I've got some extra white vinyl wrap. Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim this, because this sits high. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it's about a finger width high. So I'm gonna trim this off. I'm gonna go ahead and vinyl wrap the headlight with kind of a mock idea of the shape that I want the lens to be in. That's just for fun so we can visualize. But then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run from the headlight surface onto this surface and probably just follow up to that body line right there. Then as we hit that vinyl wrap with the heat gun, anything that's not, you know, stuck to something else, it's gonna kind of shrink back and show us kind of the fastest transition point between here and here. and we can see if we like it. And then if we get it somewhere that we like, the game plan is going to be that we can fill it with some spray foam underneath here, let that foam up, and it'll have that nice transitionary period right here. And then that'll be our scaffolding, just like our plastic is, for the fiberglass that is incoming. So let's go ahead and grab the vinyl wrap, knifeless tape. I'm going to do this shape right here and then come off through here and through here. I really want to just do the whole thing just to visualize it. So I might. We'll see. We'll see how much spare vinyl wrap I got. Looks so good. I'm glad we did the little visualization. So a few things that I'm getting from the takeaway. I really like having less on there so I can see even more black. So it goes black, white, black. So I'll probably like that edge right there and that edge right there. I'd probably shorten them up a little bit. Just by accident, what we did is kind of two different methods. You can see over here, it has a cuts in and then goes down. And over here, it's just a straight shot to the tip. I like that look a lot better than I like that look. So that is important for me to note. So I'm probably gonna grab another piece of vinyl wrap and actually go ahead and make that extension piece. I thought the vinyl wrap would shrink back and get pretty smooth through here, but it won't because it wasn't under a lot of stress and a lot of stretch. So when you heat it, it just gets even softer. I think we are seeing that transition pretty well. And we're proving that this is gonna work. This is definitely gonna work. We just gotta build the piece and it looks good. But I do think less headlight covering, less is gonna be more coming through here. It's just weird because if you stand right on top of it, you can kind of see a lot, but if you get low, then you see more black over here, and that's just because of the angles of getting into that headlight. So we're gonna have to fight that because we're on top of it instead of inside it, which, you know, inside it would be better. We actually came up with an idea for the headlight bulbs. These headlights are relatively cheap. I can buy 2 of them, like in good condition, for less than the price of one of the Prius headlights. Inside here, they have a feature that I really like, and it's called adaptive. So when you turn left, the bulb goes left. When you turn right, the bulb goes right. I was like, I really want to keep that. And then this is looking like, because this piece is the piece that bolts the bumper to the hood, it's going to be so much stronger if we make this piece and the bumper one piece, which meant couldn't really make it removable and do the non-headlight cover and the headlight cover. So I think I'm gonna build this car to always have the headlight cover, and then in this hole down here, I'm gonna buy 2 of the BRZ headlights, pull out the adaptive bulb and the stuff that does all the adaptation and all that stuff. It's this bulb right here, does all the work, high beam, low beam, everything. And I'm gonna 3D print a nice housing for it, and it's gonna live in there. And it'll be adaptive, it'll turn left and right, and be a headlight that's down there. I checked the organ code for the laws, I did not see anything that says I can't mount my headlight down there. So I'm going to do it. And it's going to look really cool. All right, so a little bit later on, we're going to go ahead and fill this area with spray foam, protect the headlight, fill it with spray foam, and that'll build that structure up behind that, and we can carve it to match. But that stuff is a little bit messy, and I don't want to work with it until we have time for it to dry overnight. So it's time to move on to the fun stuff. So these are the Koenig MRK1, AKA the Mark 1. They're a super cool design of a wheel. I love the faux center lock that they have here. This is oh man, I tightened it really good. A really nice heavy duty mechanical fit, metal piece here, metal locking centerpiece, and that hides all of your lug hardware and everything like that. You can see the center lock splines are machined into the wheel. It's so cool. I love these wheels. We were at SEMA looking at them on display with the Aero discs, and I immediately thought of this build. And I actually have had this thought in the back of my head ever since. I would like to make this, I haven't talked to Koenig about this yet, but I would like to make this build so cool, featuring these wheels, that they want to have it in their booth for SEMA 2025. We'll see. It's hard to be the coolest car that gets offered to be in their booth for a year, so we're gonna have to do a really damn good job. So this is the MRK1, and it's a flow formed wheel, which the flow forming process makes it really lightweight, and they're super durable. They're really strong. Lots of racers use their flow form lines. Plenty of people in Formula D have been testing the crap out of them. So they're super high performance and super lightweight. Every time you drop a pound off of your wheel weight, your car goes a lot faster. So it's a really, really cool setup, high performance wheel wrapped in our tire sponsor. This is a Nitto NT555 G2. This is actually the drift tire that the Formula Drift drivers use. And we did a square setup all the way around, and I told him, I was like, I just want a nice meaty tire that I can use in all weather. And that's what we went with on this. Both of these companies have been supporting us for years. We've got Nitto tires on every vehicle in this shop and Koenig wheels on so many as well. So huge thanks to both of them. They make really good quality products at an affordable price. It's an economic price that we can all get behind. So I'll put a link in the description. If you guys are in the market for either of these things, please go check it out. So we got these things a little bit before Christmas, and then we headed down to our new tire spot. Superior Tire is local here in Portland, and they got the tires mounted to the wheels. So shout out to Superior Tire. Go follow their Instagram. I'll also put a link to that in the description. They've been doing car meets around town, and I'm definitely gonna hit some of those up. So make sure you check their Instagram so you don't miss out the next time that they're hosting people over there. It's a real cool deal. And if you need tire work or anything, go check them out. So they got the tires on the wheels. Now it's our job to put the wheels and the tires on the car. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention about the Aero discs. So when you take this center cap off, so this is like a big feature, is you can take this center cap off and you can take this metal part off the center, and then I don't want to lose my fingernails, so I'm not going to do that right now. But then you put the Aero disc on, and then you put this thing back on, and it fastens the Aero disc down to the wheel. Super, super cool. And when I saw these wheels with the Aero discs on them, and this build, if you look at this rendering, this version of the rendering has a really nice, like, chunky wheel. And I thought, man, if we do these wheels with white Aero discs, it's gonna pop. So that's the game plan. Let's go ahead and get the wheels on the car, show you that look, and then we'll get the Aero discs on too. Got the wheels on the car. I love the way these wheels and tires look. I wanted a nice, meaty, like beefy looking setup that really filled out all the space. So we went up in wheel size, up in tire size, and this just gives it that really, really good aggressive look that I was going after. And it's a good look. And this color, if we want to run without the Aero disc, this color will look good against the car, which is going to be white in the long run. It's a really nice contrast and a really good color. But like I said, I want to run this with the Aero disc. So let's go ahead and get the Aero discs on and show you what it's gonna look like. Dude, I love the look of these Aero discs. This is super cool. I love this, like, this is pretty new technology. Aero discs have been a pain to have on your wheels for years. It's been a really tough time. Koenig, I think, has the simplest way of figuring this out, and I think it looks so good. It gives that beefy, filled out look to the car that I was looking for. These are so cool. Now these are silver right now. I'm gonna make them white. I think I'm gonna redo the decaling on them. Probably put mine and Koenig's logo on there. I hope they won't mind. And it's gonna look really cool. We're gonna paint match them to the car. It's gonna be awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This is a little bit of a short one because I am catching a flight, carry the 2 in 9 hours. I'm jumping on a plane and I'm going to Japan. I'm gonna do what you guys love when I do, which is just go buy another car before I finish the current one. But an opportunity came up for me to get a car I have been dreaming about and I have seen in Japan forever, and I haven't had the opportunity to ever buy one here in America. If you want a hint, it's not one I already have. I've got a Supra, I've got a R34, I've got an RX-7, and it's cheap and it's epic. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to place a guess. In the next episode, I will be saying Konnichiwa. But for now, I am saying sayonara. I think I got that right. I've been practicing. I'm gonna go get some sushi on the other continent. Goodbye for now. See you guys later. Thank you so much. Please remember to subscribe. If you want a hoodie, they're on our website, bsforbuild.com. I'll see you guys on the next one.